So the next technique, oh, there's more. You guys need a minute? All right. Let's talk about taking action. Now the whole process, if I were to actually map out the whole silo, would start with the universal solvent, which is another general negativity clearing. Then we would go to gray room. Then we would go to magic frame. Then we would go to pillars of power or voice of authority, James? Can't always get the orders. Yeah. So pillars of power. Then it would be voice of authority. Womb of eternity. And this we call the identity by design process. So we've shown you the gray room. We've shown you the building block of pillars of power, which is the neurosomatic, energetic, repatterning. Or you can just say energy spinning, 101. Okay. Emotional release technique, whatever you want to call it. Magic frame is a specific negativity clearing exercise. It's also a blind technique. It's used for the stuff that didn't come out during the general negativity clearing, if there is anything. Sometimes general negativity clear takes care of all of it. And it has more of a neuro-linguistic or NLP style approach to it. It's still done within the parameters of a trance state or a hypnotic induction, but it doesn't have to be. As long as you've got engagement of the body and the mind, you can create powerful changes with that. We won't go into it too deeply here, just to give you an idea that there's a whole string of processes that are going here. I'm giving you some choice cuts that you can go out and play with and start getting some big leverage with right away, whether you're doing it with clients or whether you're doing it for yourself. The next drill is not even on this timeline, or is not even in this silo, but it's one that everybody seemed to really, when I talked about it, they really seemed to groove on it. It's about destroying procrastination and hesitation. We've actually got two that fall into this line. One is called the Autonomizer. The other is called the Procrastination Blaster. We're going to start with, both of these do something very, very specific. They reverse your motivation. Now, what do I mean by that? We have two kinds of things that we have to that we deal with. Things we have to do or must do, and things we want to do. As a rule, the human nervous system views anything that must be done as painful. It's important. Anything that must be done is painful. Even if it's a pleasurable thing, if we have to do it, we view it as pain. Okay? That becomes important. It views anything we want to do as pleasurable. Okay? The reptile runs away from pain and towards pleasure. So the trick becomes, well, it's not a trick, it's a process. How do we turn our must-dos into want-tos? Pretty cool? Now, I need somebody who's really emotionally expressive that I can play with. You. Notice how much I asked for volunteers? Come on up here. Okay. You got a choice, A or B. Pick one.
B.
B. Ooh, okay. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to pick something on a scale of 0 to 10. 10 being the thing you're avoiding the most. Mm-hmm. 0 being something you're not avoiding at all. I want you to pick something that's around a 1 or a 2.
What's funny is my brain goes to all the things that are more like 7 to 10 because I'm kind of ambitious.
How about that, huh?
That.
Yeah.
I got to really think hard if you want me to pick a 1. Okay.
Got it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Here's what I want you to do. This technique is called the Procrastination Blaster. In your mind, close your eyes, and what I want you to do is I want you to begin to tell yourself over and over again, I must do X. I must do X. I must do X. And as you repeat it over and over and over again, I want you to increase the emotional intensity, the emotional amplitude. I must do this. I must do this. And maybe you don't want to do it, but you just keep amplifying whatever feelings you're having. I don't care if you don't want to do this. I must do this. I must. If you're feeling rebellious, that's fine. Just when it reaches its climax, when it reaches its emotional crescendo, you just do not want to do it. Take a deep breath, blow it out, drop everything, become as impassive and indifferent as you can. Go completely relaxed. And I want you to say to yourself over and over again in an indifferent kind of way, I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to. And begin to increase the emotional intensity over and over and over again. And when it absolutely reaches its peak, I don't want to. I don't want to. Take a deep breath, let it go. And just sit still quietly for a while and begin to notice a voice begins to well up in your mind. It might even start to say something like, I want to. Notice it getting louder and louder and louder. And when it reaches its peak, when it reaches its climax, get up, open your eyes, or open your eyes and get up, and go do it.
Okay.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you see her shift?
No, yeah.
Give her a big round of applause. The basis of that technique was called the echo magnet. It comes from the original autogenic training used by Soviet athletes when they swept the Olympics back in, I think it was the 70s or 80s. Took like 30 gold medals or something like that. It was from a very highly classified top secret mental training program that was later released by a defector. It's found in a book called Red Gold, if you want to actually read the original process. What did you experience when you did that? I should have you up here explaining that, but I'll let you sit back.
Well, like I said, it was hard for me to pick something small.
Uh-huh.
I resisted that. And then when I picked something small, I followed along, and I did the big dramatic I don't want to, and then I did the little I don't want to, which felt much more like I felt like a little girl,
Mm-hmm.
like a 4-year-old, like,
Yeah?
pouting. And then once that was blown up and cleared out, then I noticed that I said I want to, and then you said you might notice that you want to, and so.
Yeah,
So
I knew that would happen, but I had to make it explicit so that.
Right.
But you were actually having it before I said it.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool. And the whole idea is you just let that voice play, and you'll notice as the inner dialogue for that particular part of it gets louder and louder, you'll get more motivated to go do it, and you just go do it. Okay. And like I said, I taught that. Now, anything I teach you that doesn't involve a formal hypnotic process doesn't mean you aren't in trance. It just means that there's more conscious mind interaction going on there. If you do this process in a deep state of somnambulism, 10 times more powerful, because the filters that are modulating your internal experience are gone. Okay? But you can do this as just simple self-programming. Yes?
So just as you're falling asleep, there's a good time to do it?
No. Unless you're getting motivated to fall asleep.
Can you just go through that quickly?
Is this worth the price of admission?
Yes.
Okay, Procrastination Blaster. I don't want to, or I must do X. X being whatever it is that you've been putting off, hesitating to do. And by the way, it doesn't matter if it's something you're putting off or something where you just in a moment, you're having momentary hesitation. Like maybe you see an attractive person and you want to go talk to them. I must do this, I must do this, I must do this, I must do this. I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. Right? Okay? Next thing you do is you completely drop this. Once you reach, first you build to a climax, and then you release it. go completely indifferent, and then you just begin repeating, I don't want to X. From that indifferent state. And again, you allow this to build to a crescendo or climax, depending on if you're musical or not. And then you let it go. And then you wait for that still, small voice that says, I want. And you let that build on its own. And you'll notice as that continues to build and build and build, so will your desire to do that thing. When it reaches its crescendo, get up and do it. Okay? That's simple. That's the Procrastination Blaster. All right. So I'm going to give you one last technique.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
For the where it says I don't want to, that was like a smaller, more weak voice?
It tends to be a softer, quieter voice at first.
Oh.
You're talking about step 1 or step 2?
Step 2.
Step 2 is going to be, again, you're going to start low level, but you're going to let the intensity build. But you're going to create a state of complete indifference to the task at hand. Like you don't give a shit. Okay? And you just say, I don't want to. 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 When it reaches its emotional climax, poof. Let it go. Deflate. And just wait. And the voice will happen on its own. Don't look for it. Okay? Then now, when you start, a lot of times when I'm doing certain things, I will have you have the experience before I explain the mechanics of it. Because as a rule, when the conscious mind hears the mechanics of the process, it tries to take over the process instead of have the experience. And you need to have everything I do is based on gnosis. There's techniques and systems that are based on faith, and there's systems that are based on direct experience. You know it because you've experienced it. That's the world according to David. Okay, that's why I say don't believe anything I say, go do it. That's why with very few exceptions, although lately there have been a lot more didactic classes, most of my stuff is based on getting up, rolling up your sleeves, doing the drills, and getting the skills. I am a skill-building kind of guy.